the talented RB stands defiant against the critics. One argument against paying big money to running backs is longevity concerns. Younger, cheaper talent can offer similar production, the rationalization goes. From that perspective, new Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley, at 27 years old, could be considered close to the backside of his career. Barkley would like to call hogwash on those questions about longevity. "That's BS," Barkley told E.J. Smith of the Philadelphia Inquirer in a lengthy feature. Marcus Allen played until he was 36, 37 years old. "Some of the greats that I admire and I look up and study, they played well into their 30s. Barry Sanders left at 29, 30, and he left in his prime. It's what you put in is what you get out. That's any position. There's this weird thing with running backs right now. Is it a difficult position to play? Yes. Do you take wear and tear? Yes. But who are you or anyone else to tell me how long I can play the game? I call BS. When it's over for me, it's over for me. But I feel like if I continue to put the right stuff in my body and do the right things, there will be a day when I'm 32 or 33, and I want to hang it up, and I'm going to do it just because. I've been trying to control everything," Barkley said. "Like, I have to do this so I won't get hurt. I can't control that. My 3 or 4 injuries I've had in the NFL are flukes. There was nothing I could do to change them. But that's what it is, everything I want to be and all the potential people talk about. When I'm on the field, I'm that and more." After the success head coach Brian Daboll experienced in his first season with the New York Giants, it seemed as though the franchise had finally found its long-term leader at the post. The Giants have, of course, had a revolving door at head coach since the Tom Coughlin era ended in 2015. Meanwhile, Daboll was recently listed among the bottom half of head coaches in the NFL following a dismal 2023 campaign. The pendulum continues to swing. After being humbled in his second season and failing to return to the playoffs, all of a sudden, it feels as though a little stumble early in the season will land Dabes on the hot seat. NFL analyst Connor Orth thinks the Giants would be wrong to consider moving on from their head coach if that were to happen. "To me, it would be bonkers to go and fire another head coach before the duration of his contract," Orr said on the Valentine's Views podcast. "That would make it what? That would make it 4 in a row that didn't get a second contract? I don't think Mara is trying to do that, I really don't. That's just me talking, but I think he knows he has the right guy here." Daboll certainly got the most he could get out of his roster in 2022. After a down season, the Giants will look to rebound and get back to the playoffs this year. The temperatures when considering what the Washington Commanders might accomplish this season run hot and cold depending on who you're talking to and what the context of the conversation is. Ask someone if receiver Terry McLaurin could have a bounce-back season and you'll likely get some good vibes in return. Same goes when discussing Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels as an Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate. Talk about Washington as a worst-to-first candidate and you'll actually get some good feedback for the most part as well, but discuss the roster as a whole and things get a tad darker. Specifically when you ask CBS Sports about the top 3 offensive players on the team. Daniels is ultra-talented. We know this. Everyone has been waiting a while to see McLaurin play with a real quarterback, and hopefully he has finally found one, Jared Dubin of CBS Sports wrote in his ranking of NFL trios. Ekeler is coming off a down season, but he's still really reliable, especially in the passing game. But it's hard to say the commies should be any higher than this given the uncertainty about how this trio will work on the field. If you need reassurance, Dubin ranks the Washington trio 25th in the NFL, not at the bottom, but quite nearly there. Given a rookie quarterback, the doubt many have in Ekeler to return to form, and questions about whether McLaurin is really as big a career quarterback victim as we've painted him to be, it's not surprising Washington is getting little love in these rankings. If it bothers them, they'll have the chance to change the hearts and minds of those who build these lists very soon. The Dallas Cowboys' 2024 schedule is filled with talented players on the opposition that are capable of altering the course of any game all by themselves. These game-changing type of players must be contained for Dallas to have any type of success this year, but that's easier said than done. Today, we identify potential game changers on a week-to-week and game-to-game basis. These the type of players will be difficult to contain on an individual basis, and as such, could require a collaborative effort by the Cowboys to keep them from altering the game in their team's favor. Week 1, Myles Garrett, Cleveland Browns. With his combination of strength, power, and speed, Myles Garrett is difficult to contain by even the best offensive tackles in the league. The Cowboys will try to accomplish that with RT Terrence Steele and rookie Tyler Guyton if he earns a starting job at LT. That seems like a daunting task to accomplish, which is why we will likely see Garrett receive extra attention with chip blocks from the Cowboys to hopefully slow him down. Week 2, Chris Olave, New Orleans Saints. Chris Olave has already turned himself into one of the better wide receivers in the entire league in the short amount of time he's been in the NFL. It's unlikely Mike Zimmer will have someone shadow him throughout the game, so Trayvon Diggs, Darren Bland, and Jordan Lewis will all likely have an opportunity to limit his production. All three should be up to the task, but will still need to remain vigilant to keep from getting embarrassed. Week 3, QB Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson edged out Dak Prescott for the league's MVP last season, and for good reason. He's the most dangerous dual-threat QB in the entire league and has the ability to alter the course of the game all by himself. And, the off-season addition of RB Derrick Henry makes him even more of a game-changing type of threat. Zimmer is going to have to stress the importance of gap integrity, otherwise the Ravens QB will pick them apart. Weeks 4 and 13, Malik Neighbors, New York Giants. Malik Neighbors is about to experience what RB Saquon Barkley went through during his time with the Giants. There is little doubt the 6th overall pick will be the focal point of the entire offense, but much like Barkley, the talent surrounding him leaves much to be desired. All of the trash talk that took place not long ago between Neighbors and Diggs will come to naught. With QB Daniel Jones still under center, the rookie might struggle. Week 5, TJ Watt, Pittsburgh Steelers. First Myles Garrett in Week 1 and then TJ Watt a few weeks later in Week 5. If Guyton wins the starting job at LT, he's going to see two of the best pass-rushing defensive ends in the entire league probably before he gets the chance to settle in. Both he and Steele will have to be at their best, otherwise the Cowboys' entire offensive game plan could be thrown off and Prescott could be at risk of taking big blows. Week 6, Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions. Detroit has numerous players capable of being game changers, but none that have given Dallas as much trouble as Aiden Hutchinson. He hasn't quite reached the notability of Garrett or Watt yet, but he's not far behind them. Hutchinson had a 3-sack game against the Cowboys last year in the playoffs and will likely be looking to have a repeat performance in this matchup. Steele and Guyton will need to step up. Week 7, bye week. Based on the potential game changers we've mentioned already, no other player more than Dak Prescott may be looking more forward to, or in need of, the bye week than him. He and his teammates could be bruised and battered entering Week 7 and could possibly be in need of the extra time to rest, recuperate, and reevaluate things. Week 8, Christian McCaffrey, San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are a pick-your-poison type of team on both sides of the ball as far as potential game changers the Cowboys need to contain. The player that has given them the most fits over the years though is Christian McCaffrey, mostly due to his elite ability as both a runner and receiver out of the backfield. Containing him and putting the ball in QB Brock Purdy's hands is their best bet to finally getting the upper hand against San Francisco. Week 9, Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons. Considering expectations, RB Bijan Robinson had somewhat of a disappointing rookie season with the Falcons last year. He's as talented as any running back in the league as both a runner and receiver and is expected to be much more involved in his second season in the league. After trying to contain McCaffrey the week prior, the game plan for Dallas' run defense should be much the same in order to limit Robinson's production. Weeks 10 and 17, RB Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia Eagles. This will mark the third consecutive week Dallas' run defense will be tasked to contain yet another elite-caliber RB in Saquon Barkley, and then they have to do it again in Week 17. They've done a relatively good job of containing him in the past when he was with the Giants, but he now joins one of the most talented offensive units in the league and should benefit from that. Keeping him in check could be the difference between a W or L for the Cowboys. Week 11, QB C.J. Stroud, Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud proved last year as a rookie with the Texans he's one of the better young QBs in the league and should be even better in year 2. With a healthy offensive line in front of him for the first time in his professional career and upgraded weapons around him, the sky's the limit for him in 2024. Zimmer will need to find some way to get his defense to throw him off his game, otherwise the Cowboys may come up short in the interstate rivalry. Weeks 12 and 18, W.R. Terry McLaurin, Washington Commanders. In Week 12 and 18, the Cowboys' secondary will be tested by one of the best and most underrated WRs in the entire league, Terry McLaurin. Despite the carousel of quarterbacks that has passed through Washington over the past few years, McLaurin has continued to be highly productive and might be even more so in 2024 with Jayden Daniels under center. These two could be in sync by the time Dallas plays them in the latter part of the season. Week 14, W.R. Ja'Marr Chase, Cincinnati Bengals. Ja'Marr Chase is yet another elite wide receiver who Diggs and company will be asked to contain in this Week 14 matchup. With RB Joe Mixon no longer part of the equation and questions about Cincinnati's running game, Chase could see a significant boost in touches in order to make up for any deficit of offensive firepower. He's a game changer any time he touches the ball, and one Dallas must contain. Week 15, RB Jonathan Brooks, Carolina Panthers. Despite the Cowboys' love for Jonathan Brooks, or quite possibly because of it, the Carolina Panthers swooped in to select him before Dallas had a shot at him in this year's draft. How he's able to rebound from his season-ending knee injury in his last season with the Longhorns remains a mystery, but if healthy he could put himself in contention for Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. He's yet another talented RB who will test Dallas's run defense. Week 16, W.R. Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Add Mike Evans to the list of elite WRs Diggs and company will need to contain this year. Playoff seeding could be on the line for both the Cowboys and Buccaneers at this point in the season, which makes containing him all the more important, at least for Dallas. He's coming off a season where he recorded 200-plus receiving yards and 13 touchdowns, and could even be better in 2024 in his second season with QB Baker Mayfield. Dallas Cowboys remained mostly quiet this offseason in addressing the running back position. Dallas brought back Ezekiel Elliott while allowing Tony Pollard to join the Tennessee Titans in NFL free agency. All this has prompted speculation that the Cowboys could take a running back early in the 2025 NFL Draft. Pro Football Network's Owain Jones projects the Cowboys will take Ohio State Buckeyes running back Quinshon Judkins with the number 23 pick in his early 2025 mock draft. The draft order is based on the latest Super Bowl odds. Quinshon Judkins exploded onto the college football scene as a freshman and has been one of the top running backs in the country over the last 2 seasons, racking up 3,006 scrimmage yards and 34 scrimmage touchdowns, Jones detailed in a July 13, 2024, story titled, Owain Jones 2025 NFL Mock Draft. James Pierce Jr. headlines exciting defensive class, Travis Hunter goes before Carson Beck. A powerful rusher with sharp acceleration and long speed, the Ohio State transfer has the contact balance to fight through contact while having the vision to eat open space. Judkins has the profile to be a featured back in the NFL and has the resume to be a first-round selection. Judkins began his collegiate career at Ole Miss before joining a loaded Ohio State running back room this offseason. The playmaker posted back-to-back seasons, topping 1,000 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns with the Rebels. Judkins' best season came in 2022 when the rusher notched 274 carries for 1,567 yards and 16 touchdowns. Last season, Judkins posted 271 carries for 1,158 yards and 15 touchdowns in 13 appearances. Judkins also added 22 receptions for 149 yards and 2 TDs through air. It will be worth watching to see how Judkins produces in the Ohio State offense. Pro Football Network's mock draft has Judkins as the lone running back selected in the first round. Additional options for the Cowboys could include Oklahoma State star Ollie Gordon, Boise State's Ashton Jeanty, and Judkins' Ohio State teammate Travion Henderson. As for 2024, not everyone is convinced the Cowboys are done adding running backs. Bleacher Report's Alex Ballantyne predicted the Cowboys will make another addition, potentially trading for a veteran playmaker. A trade might make more sense. Dameon Pierce would be a logical target, Ballantyne detailed in a July 11 article titled, 7 Bold Predictions for 2024 NFL Training Camp. He had a successful rookie season with the Houston Texans, but ceded his role to Devin Singletary last season, and the Texans acquired Joe Mixon this offseason. A veteran like Miles Sanders would also be an intriguing option. He completely lost the backfield in Carolina last season, but had 1,347 yards from scrimmage in his 2022 campaign with the Eagles. This idea tracks with what owner Jerry Jones hinted at after the team passed on drafting a running back. Jones indicated that the team could make a midseason trade. "I've seen teams win the Super Bowl with running backs that they traded for midseason," Jones told reporters on April 27. "So, the point is that this thing's a long way from being over as to how you're going to line up against X next fall."